New Market Tax Credits is a federal program started about 5 years ago, designed to spur investment in low-income communities around the country. The criteria specifically states that a census tract must have approximately 20% or more low-income residents defined by the poverty line living within this tract to qualify. Typically, this would be downtown areas of metropolitan areas. There are rural areas that qualify for this. And what it does is it provides a credit to investors who invest either equity or debt capital into a project. It will spur additional credits, which can then be used to provide additional equity into a project. An organization would want to apply for tax credits primarily because it is a way to create equity into a project. If a project is financially feasible but may have a gap of anywhere from 10 to 25% as it relates to the equity requirement, the new market tax credits can come in and provide a investment into that gap somewhere in that range, and thereby allowing the project to be constructed and completed on a basis without having to over leverage the project with additional high yield debt or other sources of funding. Well, they can impact Bloomington-Normal significantly. Probably most people don't realize this, but there are a lot of areas of Bloomington-Normal that qualify for the 20% or more residents living in the census tract that are below the poverty line. And basically what it can do is provide capital, equity capital into projects like the multimodal, uptown, west side redevelopment, many other types of projects that are on the drawing boards here in both cities that have both debt capital committed by local banks, they have development capital provided by local developers, but they still have that 10 to 25% gap that there needs to be some type of subsidy or economic development tool utilized. And this is a tool that can be worked with tax increment financing, Section 108 loans, and combined you could usually bridge that gap and get these projects going. Basically, you contact the Economic Development Corporation. They have relationships with various providers of new market tax credits. In addition, the Economic Development Corporation has a community development entity that has applied for these new market tax credits in both 2008 and 2009. There's approximately $3.5 billion that are given out on an annual basis. So it is hopeful that the Economic Development Corporation will have its own pool of tax credits, but it does have relationships with other entities that provide tax credits, and thereby what you should do is bring your project, have the specific plans as it relates to the operating plan, the cash flow projections, the capital structure, and what is the financial gap, and then the Economic Development Corporation staff can evaluate if you qualify, is it a project that they feel is beneficial to the community, and then they can put you in touch with those providers of the tax credits around the country.